This is Ismael Rosa talking to you right now, and I think that you're going to like my story. I am a salsa singer, and I've been a musician all of my life. Even when I was a child, at the age of 8, I began playing guitar, and my father was a guitar player and singer, and so today I sing salsa, and I hope that you like my story. I started singing when I was a child. My father was a minister, and he would travel with different missionaries that would come from the United States to Puerto Rico, and sometimes he would sing, and my brothers would sing, and at times I would sing. And during that time, I lost the fear of being in front of a large audience. So it helped me out when I became a professional singer and I started doing salsa. The first time I actually performed for a big audience, other than church audiences and different ministries, was at Lakeview High School in Chicago, and we were having what was known as a Latin American Assembly. In this assembly, there would be a representation of every Spanish-speaking country in the world, and we would come on stage and perform, and there would be girls dressed in their typical dresses, and also the musicians would be dressed up as the typical dress codes of the country, and I was dressed up as a jíbaro. Jíbaro is the name for the country guy. So it's the farmer, the guy, the person that lives in the country, that farms the land, that works the land. He doesn't have a lot of money, but he lives off of the land. And so I was dressed up with my shirt, tied up here, and my pants rolled up, and I had a jíbaro hat, kind of like the Mexican hats, but Puerto Rico has their own style of, it's called the pava, and I looked the part. I sang 2 songs, and at first I was scared out of my mind, but after I finished the first song, even though people couldn't tell I was scared, I was afraid that they might not like my voice. But at the end of the first song, it was like a whole minute in between where the audience was real quiet, and I said, oh no, nobody liked it. What happened? And then suddenly it exploded, and everybody's clapping away, and it was like, oh my God, it sounded like a baseball game. Like somebody hit a home run, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was so excited that the second song was much better. And so in the audience was the owner and manager of some of the bands that performed in Chicago during those days. And the #1 band, called Orquesta La Justicia, he was, his lead singer had been called to go to Vietnam. So he lost the lead singer there. He had another one whom you will probably hear from in a bit, and he was a romantic, and so he needed someone that could interpret salsa with the Puerto Rico flavor, and I was fresh off the boat from Puerto Rico, off of the plane, right? But it was great. It was great. I'm standing on the stage, everyone is clapping, and suddenly I hear someone call out, "Jíbaro! Hey, Jibarito!" and I knew I was the only one dressed like a hick. All right, there's the part, and so I looked. And all the girls that were dancing around me with their typical dresses, they were giggling because it struck them as funny. Oh, they called him a hick, you know, they called him a country boy. And he answered, but I knew it was me they were calling, you know. So I said, yeah. And he says, this guy wants to talk to you. And so I went to talk to him, and he says, I want you in my band. I got a real good band. And I was like, I'm the preacher's son. You know, how do I do this? But somehow it worked out. And 6 months later, I was in a recording studio. And 3 months later, I was on my first tour. So it was a hit. And that's how my career began. It was crazy, but it was gorgeous. It was great. I love it. Well, my first recording was actually a 45. Most of you don't know what that is. It's like I was talking to my friends at work, and I talked about a cassette. And they go, what's a cassette? Imagine if I had said what's a 45. Well, a 45, you know, is a single record, and it's a two-sided thing. It has one song in each side, and the first recording that Mr. Ruiz had me do with La Justicia was actually the first song that I ever wrote. And I always knew, I used to love writing. And so Juan Castro and Juan was the other singer that La Justicia had. This guy, he's a bolerista. He would take a slow song and make it so good that girls used to love him. He started singing and girls used to love him. They still do. Mary, don't get mad. but I still love him too. He's one of my best friends, and he taught me a lot. I learned a lot from him, and turned me into the person and the singer that I am today. And he was writing a song, and so I started, well, maybe I could write too. And I started writing, and I wrote this song about me. It's called Alegre Jibarito, the happy Jibarito, the happy countryman, country boy. You know, so I recorded that, and it was a hit. And after that, we recorded The Long Plane, okay, which is a 33 RPM record, and I recorded 2 songs in that album, and it was great. It was great. That was my very first album, and then as the time went by, I just performed all over the place with different artists, many different artists, and it gave me the chance to perform with the best of the best. So throughout my whole career, I've been doing that until Hurricane Hugo time. That's when I started recording the big recording that I did with that was released through Fania Records. Fania is like the Motown of salsa back in those days. And if you wanted to be somebody, and you know, you had to record with Fania. And so I was glad that I was able to do that, and it's something that I'm working out right now. We're working on a remix and a remastering of that, so that we can let you guys see how we still sound today. As stories go, and I have many of them. Man, do I have stories. It's incredible stories. I have performed with the best of the best. I've known just about all the famous guys, but Celia Cruz, back in 1976, the centennial year, the bicentennial year here in the United States, Puerto Rico was also celebrating, and La Justicia Orchestra flew to Puerto Rico to perform there, and it was great. Here I find myself inside the Capitol building, and we're performing for the Senate of Puerto Rico, inside the Capitol building. And then later on, the parade is about to begin, the Centennial Parade. And so in front of the Capitol building, across the street, there's a big stage, and who's there? I am, with La Justicia. And I'm like, my God, I'm in Puerto Rico. You know the dream of every musician to go back to his own country and be able to perform like that. That was great. So I'm on stage about to sing a song that Celia Cruz had recorded, and it was in the top charts. And so just before we get started and the introduction of the song gets started, here we see her running over, and she's like a hurricane, like a tornado. She's like taking over, woo, 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 Azoka. She's yelling Azoka, and this is kind of like a phrase that everyone knows, that when you say that phrase, you think of Celia Cruz. This lady, she took that and made it her own saying. So she's known for saying Azoka, and which means sugar, right? But the way that she said it is like, say, what up? And it was incredible because she came on the stage, and my manager says like, hey, Celia Cruz, And I'm like, okay, I'm moving over to the side. But no, she snags me and drags me. No. We're going to sing this song. I tell you, I get goosebumps just thinking about that. She's no longer with us. She's in heaven now. And I know that no matter what, everyone who knows salsa, anyone and everyone who has heard or went to a dance, or this lady was the thing, she was it. And when she performed, she would get you motivated, even if you were just not a salsero, which means a salsa person, and gosh, she would just come on stage and take over, right? So this beautiful black woman, big lady, I mean, I'm short, so I was a shorty next to her, and she hugs me and she says, no, we're gonna do this, and so we sang this song on stage in front of the Capitol building in San Juan, Puerto Rico in 1976. I tell you, nothing beats that. There's no other story that I can tell you, and I've got a lot of them. But this is it. Now I couldn't say, because I performed with all of them. I mean, Tito Puente, my buddy, he would come into town and call me and tell me, Ismael, Jíbaro, estoy aquí, I'm here. And I knew that, okay, where you at? My name is on the guest list. I just go over there and poof. And of course I'd go in there and sing background with him and just chill, and he was not only the greatest, he was really down to earth. He was as down to earth as you can. Well, Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, El Gran Combo, Orquesta La Luz from Japan. Every single name from Bobby Valentin down to Hector Lavoe, Willie Colon. We performed at the Aragon several times. As a matter of fact, he was just in town in Chicago recently at a salsa festival and did his very last presentation. I was moved when he quoted and he said, "I want to thank you because I have many memories at the Aragon ballroom." And guess what? I was there with him. I was there with him. Just about every single time that he came into town, I performed there with him. It was great. Eddie Palmieri, Lalo Rodriguez just passed. And I performed with him and Eddie Palmieri. Ismael Quintana and Eddie Palmieri. Back in 1974, we were up there. A girl got killed on stage. I mean, while he was on stage, and it was very traumatic, very sad. There have been good times, sad times, great times. Hector Lavoe went through a lot of hard times in his days, but he was great. And Ismael Miranda, Larry Harlow, Roberto Roena. These are names of the top from Colombia. Guayacán. And you have, of course, Grupo Nietzsche. We performed together several times. In the early 90s, I performed with Grupo Nietzsche and Guayacán. And in the 80s, all the way from 1973, 74, all the way up, I was always in the #1 band, or I was ranked the better. I had, I'm not trying to brag, it's just that I always wanted to show and present myself with the best musicians. And I wanted them to be well dressed. I wanted them to be very presentable. And I wanted them to sound like it was a recording. So I was known for having an excellent sounding band. One day I was performing with Bobby Valentin in Chicago. And he sent word to me, "Man, your band sounds really good. I like the way how tight you are." And I was even going to join him in his record label, Bronco Records. We had a nice time. I really love this man. He's one of the best bass player leaders and musicians that have come, and I'm glad he's still around doing that. Then you have Marvin Santiago, and then you have Cano Estremera, and you have all these names. You have Tito Gomez, Tito Nieves, you have Frankie Ruiz. You're gonna see pictures of me and Frankie Ruiz. You're gonna see pictures of me with not only Frankie Ruiz, but also with El Niño Bonito. Cara de Niño. We performed so many times at the Aragon Ballroom, and I was moved to be great. I wanted to be great. So I always hired the best and performed with the best, and I was blessed to have been with them on stage. Larry Harlow. You have so many superstars that when I went to record the the production that I did with Fania, we used the best of the best musicians. Juancito Torres, who was an ambassador of the music of Puerto Rico throughout the world. This guy had all kinds of certificates from the best of the best universities and colleges of this nation and Europe and Asia. He would go and travel all over the world to give seminars of trumpet playing. And we lost him, I believe it was 1998, 99, but he lives in my heart. He was the producer of my very last recording. And he went out of his way to make sure that we had an all-star recording group. Every musician in that Vuelve a Mí recording is a superstar. Even the recording engineer, John Fausti, you know, what he's got 18 Grammys, something like that, and from the best conga players, like we have the one playing congas in the song Vuelve a Mí, which I wrote by myself. I wrote myself. Is Giovanni Hidalgo. Giovanni Hidalgo is the man when it comes to congas. And then the rest of the songs, Richie Flores. I mean, wow, you can't imagine how deep and profound this is. And Richie Flores now lives in Colombia, and he is something else. These guys are masters, and every single musician, from the trumpets, Charlie Sepúlveda, Nelson Jaime, and Juancito Torres. Can you imagine that combination? Papo Vázquez and Reynaldo Jorge on the trombones. Can you imagine that? These guys are the best of the best, and it's incredible to know that I can't just say one or two. Yeah, I've been there with all these guys and many more. That everyone that was happening in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, we performed together. We've done things together. We have been able to enjoy each other's music together. That is unmatchable and an incredible honor. I am honored to be able to say those things. You know, there's a band in Puerto Rico that the piano player lost his leg in an accident. One of his musicians perished in that accident, and they Orquesta La Selecta. We perform at the Aragon and many other places so many times, you know, and it's an honor to know these people. I can't say who the best is because everyone has his own style, his own music, and they are loved by the public. You, the public, make us who we are. We don't do anything. We are nothing without the public. And so it's important to me that I recognize you for who you are. And I'm thankful. And I love you all. Major bands. Well, Orquesta La Justicia is one of the biggest things that happened in Chicago and in the Midwest throughout the 70s. There were a lot of other bands in Chicago that were very, very outstanding. Orquesta La Confidencia, Orquesta La Solución, Orquesta La Unión, and many others. But La Justicia, every time there was a major event, we were there. Every time the city wanted someone to perform for a fundraiser for the Hispanic community, or to do something at the park festivities and the park festivals and all that, La Justicia was there, which means I was there. You know, and I lived that from 1973 to 1977. I believe in 1978 I went on my own a little bit, and I was then working for the Chicago Board of Education, and I kind of took off a little bit of time to go ahead. I was married, had some kids, you know, had a daughter and a son, and previously I had another son, so it's interesting to know that, you know, the most famous bands, I kind of like, gee, I made it myself. After that, I came back and I made a band with this other friend who played the tres. And tres is an instrument that has 3 sets of 3 strings, and it follows the pattern of the piano. Puerto Rico has one that's called the cuatro. Tres, of course, you know, is number 3. Okay? Well, Puerto Rico has one that's called the cuatro, which is number 4. Well, that one has 10 sets. 10 sets of 2 strings, and they're typical instruments. They're really nice and have a really unique sound. And anyways, David Rodriguez and I started this band, and we called it Flamboyant. Flamboyant is the name of a tree. Actually, the national tree of Puerto Rico is Flamboyant. And it's a beautiful tree that has orange flowers, and it looks really bright and gives you this feel of summer every time that you think about it or look at it. And so we call this band Flamboyant, and I had it, we had it for a few years. David and I went our own way, and I then found out that realized that in New York there was a band that was more famous than mine, and they had the name first, so I changed the name. I changed the name. I can't do that. I don't like to step on anybody's toes, and I definitely don't want to be compared to somebody else, you know, because of course you always think you're the best. You know, and it's natural, you know, you want to do that. It's no sense of you being an artist and not think of yourself as the best. Because all of us, we strive to be the very best. And this is what I'm doing right now. I'm not trying to be better than Tom, Dick, or Harry. I'm just trying to be the best at what I do. You know, and so my story and the different bands that I have worked with in 1979, at the end of 79, beginning of 1980, I resigned working for the Board of Education and went to Puerto Rico. And it was a real bad time for me. You see, drugs are all over the place. And you have to face the good and you have to face the hard times. And I was going through something in my life, and I couldn't I had custody of these two beautiful children, a daughter and a son, and so I moved to Puerto Rico. And there I had the opportunity to also sing with a very famous band, Orquesta La Diferente, with Rafi Val. Rafi Val was dating my cousin, and so it was interesting that he found out that, you know, I sang salsa in Chicago, and I was kind of like cleaning myself up and trying to not go the wrong way, because I was I wasn't really abusing drugs, but I was using drugs, you know, and it was hard on me and hard on my family. And so I called my mother, who was in Puerto Rico, and said, "Mama, I need help." My father came to Chicago. He took my daughter with him, and I flew a few weeks later and joined them there, and another chapter began. You know, while I was cleaning up, I was singing with Rafi Val and his band in Puerto Rico, and it was a great experience because there I met a whole bunch of other musicians that I wasn't aware of how nice they were. I knew them because we had performed together before, but I didn't know them. And I began to know different names like Jose Febles. Jose Febles was a trumpet player who arranged music, and he was one of the best musical arrangements I've ever known. He's also with the Lord in heaven now, but he was something else. You know, actually, in that Fania recording, he did 5 arrangements for me, and it's great. It's great. This guy taught me a lot, and some musicians, friends of mine, have told me several times, you know, about how they went to this school or that school. I stay quiet, you know, and that's nice, but I am thankful that I spent that time in Puerto Rico, because there I refined myself. And these men helped me to become a better performer, if not a better singer. Of course, I was able to refine what I did and learn from the best. Tito Gomez gave me some lessons. You know, then of course in my life came Juancito Torres and Nelson Jaime, and these guys, they made me who I am today when it comes to using this, my vocal cords, you know, and being able to do things in a more classy way. Even though I always had this thing that I wanted the best band, more refined, but when I came back to Chicago in 1984, you know, I made another band and call it the Chicago All-Stars. And I would pick different guys here, and every weekend I had a whole different group, but we threw down, you know, and began to get recognition. And then I made my own, the Orquesta Flamboyant with David, and from there on, Juancito Torres said, "Listen, you got to stop that. Everybody is using their names. I'm going to make you the best." You know, and I was like, "You're going to make me the best?" He says, "Yeah. You don't understand. You have this, you have that." And I was getting a little swollen. Then I realized, no, how am I going to do that? You know? But thank goodness that he was there, and he taught me. And he was the greatest teacher I've ever had. And from there, Ismael Rosa y su orquesta came. Ismael Rosa and his orchestra. I was able to learn and produce a better me. I was able to not only sing but become a leader. And today, when I go places, I hear guys say, "There's the legend, there's the man, and they put me on a pedestal. I don't really dislike it, but I am humbled by it. You know, that they feel that way, you know, and that they look at me and might say, wow, you know, he's here. But Ismael Rosa is still here. And now we are on our way again, and we have some new stuff. And this new stuff is better than what we had before. And the people that are working with me now, you know, this is, thank you, Lord. It's all I can say. But let me tell you, you already know that you have another song that I've written and was marketed, and it's in the market right now, and it's in all the venues right now, and all the music apps and everything. Perdóname. I wrote that too. You know, now perdóname means forgive me. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and it's been good times, there've been bad times, and I fell flat on my face and lost 22 and a half years of my life. And I'm glad that other people around me believe that I'm not dead yet. You know, just do what you do. And that's what we're doing now. So we're working on trying to make something else and bring it to you. Do something that you would like to. So I hope that I'm not going to let you down. But I'm going to strive to do the best that I can. And the next one is going to be better yet. I'm glad that so many of my friends have stepped up. You know, I thought for a minute that, well, you know, I messed up, or maybe this bad or that, but thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. I mean, that so many of them have stepped up. And I'm glad that Reynaldo Jorge, he stepped up. We're in touch, we're in contact. I'm glad that Nelson Jaime, he stepped up. He's the one that arranged the music for Perdóname. The other song, Y No Estar Tan Solo, Nelson Jaime. And all the musicians that they put together, Edwin Sanchez produced those two songs, the recording of it. Nelson Jaime wrote the arrangement, and he mixed it in his own studio in New York. And you have so many. I've talked to Richie Flores just recently, and he's happy to do whatever he can, you know. And every time I call someone, hey, they step up, you know. So I know that it seems strange, but I'm just glad that just about everyone that I have been in contact with before is willing to step up. You know, Charlie Sepulveda, I'm in touch with him too. He's a super, super fine trumpet player. This guy is incredible. And he's got a band called Turnaround. He played Latin jazz. He is, oh my goodness, something else. You should have seen him on Jay Leno's show back in the day. Man, Woo! And he's there playing the trumpet, and he did the Puerto Rico song, Eddie Palmieri's Puerto Rico. He got his own version in the trumpet and in jazz, and he was like, oh my God! And of course, he's in the Fania recording that we did. You know, my last recording with Fania, the Vuelve a Mí recording, is one of the trumpet players. Nelson, Charlie. I know that I won't have my friend with me there, but I know that Juancito Torres is watching. I know that he knew that someday I would be here again. And I do this because he taught me to always move on. He taught me to always continue striving forward. He taught me to go ahead and do the best that I can and not make him look bad. And I plan to live up to that name. So I can tell you this much. Yeah, who is going to stand up for me? Here, I have many musicians that will stand up. They already stood up. I came out of prison in 2016 after 22 years. And President Barack Obama gave me a pardon. And I'm so very proud and so very glad that there were a lot of people praying that I would get this chance. And I'm just thankful to God because, you know, I can do a lot of things, but I can do nothing without the first person that stood up for me. And his name is Jesus Christ. See, he stood up for me. He made things happen. I'm not here because the president, I'm not here because Tom, Dick, or Harry. I'm here because God said it's time for you. And he made things happen. Touched these people's heart, who I am very thankful for. But today, I'm here. Who stands up for me? Jesus stands up for me. And everyone else that has come in touch with me before and know that I am a Christian at heart, a Christian of mind, a real Christian. And of course, he gave me abilities. And he gave me the talent of singing. And so I sing at church. I sing at different churches. Still, like the first boy that began in this endeavor of music. But I sing salsa too. And everything that I do, I only do it because he allows me to do it. So who stands up for me? All my friends will. And you're going to see some of them talk to you and tell you a little bit about me and a little bit about the experiences that we've had before. And we've had some nice experiences. And I'm glad that I can say that knowing that it is well. Because it is well, not only with my soul, but with everyone that watches. It's going to be okay for you. You're going to like it. Well, ay. Yeah, what would I want for someone to write about me? Back in 1991, a journalist interviewed me, and they had a local magazine that was dedicated to show the audience what song was in the top charts, what artist, what's happening, who was going on, who had messed up, who did a boo-boo, who did this and that, and she interviewed me, and I thought to myself, I hope she doesn't say anything bad about me at the end. But when I read, I was humbled by what I read, and she said, when Ismael gets on the stage, he somehow goes to a transformation, and he changes. And when he sings, we can see the song, not only hear it, but see it. And that touched me, because, in other words, you're doing what you're supposed to. When you perform, see, today, 99% of the performers and singers have to go into X-rated materials or something that needs to be censored here and there. And you know, I'm not against it. I'm not going to say that, well, you know, but I mean, but you did hear me say that he's the first one, right? And so I like to sing and perform songs that have deep meaning, not only sensuality. I like to make sure that there's a message there, a good message. You know, I don't have anything against. I love rap. I love R&B. I love the Mexican stuff. You know, man. You know, I'm at a barber shop 10 hours a day sometimes, you know, and all we hear is one corrido after the other. I love it. But when it comes to me, I want to sing about something that you can relate to. Something that maybe took place in your life, or you would want it to take place in your life. I'd love to get someone to say, I heard this song, and this song, I felt like it was talking about me. You know why? Because that's how I choose them. For instance, I was told that, you know, it's better when you write your own songs. Yes, it is for the money. But while I was in prison, I heard this song. And I knew that one day I would sing that song in salsa because it touched me. You know, and so I did. I made sure that. And Nelson Jaime, he wrote the music, and Y no estar tan solo. A Spaniard songwriter. It's a ballad. But, you know, I was alone. I was in the darkest place, the darkest corner, the darkest time of my life. And I know what being alone is. I know what loneliness is. I related to the message of that song. And so I thought, man, well, a lot of people, they go off, you know, and they'll join a gang, they do this, they do that, and before you know it, you know, they started to do, you know how many people I met that started serving time to do 18 months, and suddenly they got 2 life sentences because they went with the flow. You know, I decided I was going to serve the Lord. I decided I was going to run to God and say, Lord, I'm sorry. And that's where Perdóname comes from. You know, I wrote that song thinking of my family. Perdóname. I wrote that song thinking of the woman that had my kids. And we were no longer an issue. She was with someone else, married to someone else already. But as I'm doing that at the same time, you know, this other song, Y no estar tan solo, was about not losing your mind. What do you do? Where do you go? You know, when you're in a situation like that. And so he says, you know what? I'll get lost in my own mind and let my mind flow and let things flow, think things out, analyze the situation, and do the best that you can so you don't go off. And here I am today. You know, so I would like to hear that something I sang touched somebody, that my songs have a meaning, that my songs are something that other people have related to. That's what I like. Wow, you know, I wish that could happen. Because I tell myself, stop clowning around and do what you know that you dreamed of. Because see, I had this dream. I've always had the dream. But I messed up. And then again, today, I am the person I am because I messed up. So I don't know. But I would go back and say, don't play with drugs. Don't do this. Stick to your stuff. Go ahead and continue writing the stuff. You're doing good. Just go ahead and don't go there. It'll get you to the wrong place. It got me in the wrong place, see? So I know I would go ahead and say that. You know, stay the course. Don't mess with this. These things that are, at first it's cool because it is. Everything is all right. The Bible talks about everything. You know, it's all right. But what happens? When you do things excessively, all right turns into bad. And so I would go ahead and tell myself, you know, stay away from this, stay away from that, continue the course, and think of your dream, and have Jesus in your heart always. I think that God has been my inspiration. A lot of people consider singing salsa a sinful thing. Singing what is non-Christian music a sin. But it's only a sin if you make it a sin and if you sin through it. You know, and I think that after considering the things that I've been doing and knowing that I had all this music and all these things that I wanted to bring forth, you know, I met a person too. I met a person that has become my manager. and he's inspired me into going ahead and moving up and doing things that you didn't think that you could do. You know, and I'm glad that that he will be also talking about that with you. So yeah, inspiration comes from different places, different people. My family has inspired me. God inspired me. And Wally Lockhart has inspired me too. You know, and I'm very proud to say that he's my friend. And very proud to say he's my manager. I'm very proud to know that today we stand here together saying the future is in your hands. Not mine, it's in your hands. We're here for you though. We're going to do good things for you. There's more copies today. Not enough originality. And even though the new stuff is original and highly different, at the same time, it's like been there, done that. So I'm glad that we here at Urban Grind believe in doing things different. We believe in doing things different, and because we do that, we look at this, we look at the scene today, and we look at the scenes, different scenes of the past, and maybe we'll come up with something that will make some changes, that will be all in its own unique. But I think that the difference is that today there's not as much respect for music as it was before. Music itself, the musicians that make the music. You know, today's music is limited to a synthesizer, a drum beat, this and that, and the musicians are hungry. The musicians are starving. The people that love music can't get it done because they don't have a job. So that's why I like salsa, because salsa, you need a big band. You need musicians, and they're hard to find now. In the old days, everybody wanted to be a musician. And all the salseros, like, you play congas? Oh yeah, I play the timbales too, you know. Oh, you play trombone? Oh, I play trombone too. You play piano? I play bass too. See, today, you don't find that too much. That's the difference. I'm hoping that somehow we can come to a middle ground and bring back music where musicians are involved more. I've gone through many troubles and tribulations, a lot of problems, but God has brought me through. And I thank God. Le doy gracias a Dios. I am humbled because God, after all the troubles and tribulation that I've been through, He's given me a second chance. I'm in a documentary with President Barack Obama when he signs some of the pardons, and I was one of those 14 life sentences that he pardoned. And he says, America is a nation of second chances. So is God. Now, I'm glad that you two are a second chance people. Thank you. También le doy gracias a Dios porque ustedes también son gente de segundo chance. Gracias.